in today's video I'm going to show you how to create a 12-month calendar using Affinity Publisher. The first thing I want you guys to do when you open up the project is come over to your template section and ensure you are on print. So for most calendars are usually around an A3 size, so if we just select that one and just come over to here on your right hand side to your layout section and make sure your DPI is on 300 if you wish to print this, as that will give you the best quality. We can leave that in millimeters, that's not important right now. Number of pages, we're just going to set this to 1 for the moment, and we're going to turn off facing pages because we only want this on a single page. Color format you can leave as RGB if you like. I'm not going to change any margins or bleed because it shouldn't really matter too much with this project. So once you've got all this, guys, just hit that create button. Okay, once we are in the main program, you'll come across your 2 pages here. One being your page that we're going to start on. This will be our January page, and this here is a master page. For this tutorial, I'm not going to use a master page because I want every page to be custom. But if for any reason you guys want to use the same information across various pages, you would put it in the master page, and that would instantly copy to every new page that you create. But for this one, we just want to ignore that. Okay, so let's double tap on our first page here, and we can just start creating our content. So the first thing I want you to do is head over here to the left hand side, and we are going to select our picture frame rectangle tool, the box with the cross in it, and just select that. And I want you to drag from one corner to the other so it snaps into place. It's like that. And if it ain't snapping for you guys, just come up here to the magnet and just ensure you have that turned on. So after we've done that, we are going to apply an image to this. So hopefully you guys are using your own images, whether it be family photos or maybe some photography you've done of places around the world or just something interesting to look at. If for any reason you don't, that's perfectly fine. You can just do what I'm going to do right now and come over to this stock section right here. And if you're not seeing this stock section, just head up here to your view menu, go down to studio and ensure that you have got stock checked. Okay, so what this stock section is for those of you who don't know, you've got access to 3 websites here. And these websites are used by people all around the world that submit images for everybody to use for free. All that they require is you give them written credit for any images you use. Whether you put this in the book, website or online somewhere, just ensure that you write image by whoever created it. For instance, we're doing a winter theme at the moment because we're in January. So we're just going to put winter for our first photo. And we're going to find something we like. So I'm going to choose this one, for instance, I think. And I'm just going to drag this over and drop it. So straight away, you'll notice there's the name of the person who created it. So just take note of that if you need to. And once you've got your image, that's the background done for that first page. So we can just come back over to our pages, now, and we can move on to the next step. So this being January, we're going to write our January title up here. So grab that artistic text tool on the left-hand side, the big A. And we're just going to snap it to that blue bar there. And we're just going to drag this out and just write January. Just like that. And I'm probably going to resize that. So hit Command A to select all and just find the size that suits you. Maybe about 90, I think. So I'm going to put that manually. Just like that. I'm going to come back to the move tool, the arrow right at the top, and I'm just going to center that. And I'm going to change the color in this one. So I'm going to come over to the color section and I'm going to put that to white. And I'm also going to put a drop shadow on this. So to do that, we're going to come down to the effects and we're going to choose outer shadow and just pay attention to the radius and your offset. For this, we're just going to put 10 on both of these. Hit that enter key and that is fine. Just close that. And I'm just going to make a copy of this now, guys. So hit that Command C to copy, Command V to paste. And I'm just going to drop that down. And we're just going to edit this one by double clicking. And we're going to put 2021 in there. Command A to select all and resize this to about 55, I reckon. That's probably fine. So grab that move tool once again and just center that now again. So that looks okay to me. It'll do for the moment. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do, we're going to give it a bit more style. So I think we're going to draw a little shape up here. So we're going to grab our rectangle tool. If you tap on that and hold it, it'll give you access to all these other tools. And I'm going to grab this trapezoid tool. And I'm just going to drag that out. And just meet the corners on that one. And I'm going to come up here to this little round circle and rotate that all the way around. If you hold down shift, it will snap into place. Just like that. And I'm going to get that move tool and I'm just going to move this up to the top. And I'm just going to resize that a little bit so it doesn't cover the January and just have that a little bit bigger. And I'm going to give this a gradient, I think. So if we come over to the fill up here and we're going to go to gradient and we're going to come in here, give that maybe an ice blue kind of color, so like that on one side and back on here, maybe a darker blue over here, so something like that could be okay. This is your personal preference, and I think I'm going to give it a drop shadow on that one as well. So back down to effects, outer shadow, and we just give that a 10 and a 10 again on your radius and offset. Hit that enter key and we close that. So inside here, we want something personalized. So we're just going to grab that text tool again. And we're just going to write your family calendar. And I'm just going to center that with this one here. And this will obviously be your family name, for instance. So once you've done that, we're going to move it over to the center. And I'm going to change the font on this one to make it look a bit different to the rest of it. So we're going to come up here and I think I'm going to go for something kind of handwritten style. And I may have different fonts to you guys, but if you see something I'm using that you don't have, just Google it. I'm sure it'll be free. So just having a quick look through here, see what I can find. I don't have a lot in terms of handwriting by the looks of it. So that one looks okay. I'll use that for the moment. And I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. Bring that into the center and use my arrow keys just to bring that down slightly. And you can make this bigger if you want. You can make this shape bigger, just drag it out and move down your January and so on. But for me, that looks okay at the moment. If you want to, you can put a drop shadow on that. So we just do the same as before, but maybe 5 on this one because it's quite small. And just like that. So that's okay for me at the moment. So that's pretty much most of the design part done for our January part. So next thing we need to do is start creating our boxes. So in order to do that, we're going to come over to the left hand side once again. We're going to change this trapezoid tool back to a rectangle. And we're just going to come over here and snap this to this blue bar on the side there. So I want you to hold down shift as you pull, because then it'll keep the proportions correct. So if we do this around 35, like that, it might need to be a little bit bigger, but we'll adjust that in a moment. And we're just going to change the color of that to white. And I think we're going to make the stroke a bit bigger on that one. So select the black stroke in the background, come up here and maybe have your width at a 3 perhaps. We can always come and adjust this later if it's too thick, but I think I like it. So I'm going to keep that the way it is at the moment, but I'm going to keep the stroke the way it is. I'm going to come onto the fill and I'm just going to bring down the opacity on the fill. So the stroke stays solid black, but the white will start to fade. So I'm just going to bring that down to just so we can see the image in the background, but we're also able to write over it. So I think somewhere around there should be fine. So I'm going to leave that the way it is at the moment. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to zoom in on this quickly and just move that into place. And we're going to get our little text tool again. And we're just going to put some numbers in the corner if you guys want to number this by dates. So we're just going to draw that out to the size you want to do it. So just have that 12 for instance. And I'm just going to put 0, 0 for the moment. I'm just going to select that and colour that black. I'm sorry, I'm going to undo that because that was a stroke. We're going to do that on the fill. And I'm just going to get that move tool and I'm just going to move it over to the corner. and roughly put this where you guys want it. I'm going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to hold down shift and push the arrow to the left to move it there, and hold down shift and push it down. So that's even. So I'm just going to leave that there for the moment, and then we can just change this later on to whatever the date will be. So I'm just going to zoom back out for the moment. And I want you to now take this square in your layers, and I want you to hold down Command and select that 00 as well. And I want you just to group that. So Command G. So what we need to do next is make a copy of this. So we're going to hit Command C, and I want you to hit Command J, which is to duplicate it. So once we've done that, you see we've got this other copy here, and I need you to come down and pay attention to this transform section down here. If you don't have the transform section on your version, come up to your view, back down to your studio, and just find your transform and just ensure it's checked. Same as anything else on here. If you can't see it, you'll find it in here. So once we're in the transform section, we need to pay attention to the X and the Y axis. So coming from left to right is going to be your X axis, and coming from your top to your bottom is your Y axis. So come over to your X axis, and I want you to click on the 25mm, but don't delete that. I want you to keep that the way it is. All I want you to do is at the end of this, I want you to put plus, just like that. And if you remember the size of this box that we created, it was 35. So it'd be plus 35, just like that, and then hit enter. And then that's moved that copy over to the exact position that we need it to be in. So all we've got to do once we've done that is hit Command J until we have 7 boxes. So hit Command J, so we've got 3, Command J, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that now is your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And all we've got to do now is group these ones like we did before. So select that top one, hold down shift, come to your bottom one, and hit that Command G to group. And we're going to do exactly the same thing that we just did. We're going to hit that Command C for copy, Command J to duplicate, but this time round we need to come to the Y axis. So we do exactly what we did before. Ignore the number at the beginning, come to the end of the millimeter and hit that plus button and 35 like we did before, and then hit that enter key. And there you can see it's dropped below it in the perfect spacing, and we just Command J again till we got 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've got 6 all together. And we can just come in and group all of this now by selecting the top one, hold down the shift button, select that one, Command G, and we are free now to move this anywhere we want. So what we actually want to do is just make sure it's a perfect fit. So all we have to do now is just find the corner of the item and just stretch it to the size we want. I want it to join this bar here and snap to that one there. So just drag that out so it snaps on both ends so we know it's even. And we can just start to position this wherever you want it to go. So I think we'll leave it roughly around there. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so we can see what's going on. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to write in our days, at the top here. And you'll notice straight away we've got far too many boxes here, but there is a reason for this. And this is because most months have either more or less days than others. The first of the month could start on a Wednesday on one day and a Sunday on the next month. So this is a reason for the extra boxes. We will start to delete some of these boxes that we don't need as we go on. So for the moment, please just ignore it and we'll come back to that later. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is create our dates. So just going to zoom in again. And I'm going to come over here to the text tool, but this time instead of the artistic text tool, we're going to come up to the frame text tool. Select that one and just want you to just drag it from this blue snapping point to the end of here where it snaps again. So it's the exact same size as a square. And once you've done that, just tap inside it to start writing out your text. And we're going to write Monday on this one. Just select all with that with Command A, and we're just going to center that up here. And we'll change the color of that so we can see it, make it white, and we're going to make that a little bit bigger. Keep in mind that some days are going to be longer than others, so if you make Monday too big like that, it's not going to fit Saturday or Wednesday, for instance. So we'll keep that roughly around 15, I think. And all we've got to do now is just drag this down to the position you want it. So about there is fine. And we're going to come off that. We'll select that again. We'll give it a drop shadow because it does kind of blend in a little bit. And with this being really small, we may just have like a 2x2. Just see if it stands out a little bit better. We could come back and change the color these days if it's not working out too well. Let's just try 3. But we'll leave it like that just for the moment, just while we carry on. All we got to do now is just copy this across the rest of these boxes. So we just hit Command C and Command V to make a paste of that, and just drag it over and just keep pasting it and let it snap into place till you get to the very end of these boxes. Just like that. And at this point now, we just got to come in here and just change these days. So this one will be Tuesday. This one will be Wednesday. This one will be Thursday. Friday. And Saturday. And of course Sunday. So that is that done, and we can now group these together, guys, so we can move these around as one if you want to. So just hit that Command G, and you can name these if you want, which is always good practice, because if you end up with too many layers, it's definitely too hard to keep on track. So we're just going to double tap on that, and we'll call this one Days of the Week. Okay, so we can independently move this entire thing now if we want, but I'm quite happy with the way that is at the moment. The only downside is it does kind of blend in a bit too much being white, so we could change that color if you want to. So maybe just experiment with this and just see if you can find something that just looks a bit better but doesn't ruin the design. But for me, I'm going to keep this white at the moment because I think it generally does look better anyway. And when you print this and it's bigger, you're not going to have any problems seeing it. Okay, so this is really like 70% there. All we've got to do now is just add a few little bits that you may want to put on here. Like down here, for instance, we could just have an extra box where you can write additional information for your month, like maybe some monthly goals. So yeah, I think we'll kind of go off that at the moment. So grab our rectangle tool and just drag out another box. Okay, I'm going to ignore this margin here because when you come to print it, you're not going to cut off the margin. It's fine. Everything's fine inside of there. So I'm just going to leave that the way it is and do what we did before. We're going to come up to the fill and we're just going to bring that opacity down just so we can kind of see the picture in the background, but we're still able to write on it if we want to. So somewhere around there is fine. And what I want to do now is zoom in, and we just want to put some lines in here that you could write on with a pen if you wanted to. So I'm just going to grab our pen tool there and just going to put in a point right here. I'm going to hold down shift so it keeps that perfect line right there, you see, and just bring this over to where I want it. And first of all, I'm going to center this. So grab that move tool first and then just move it where you want it. And I want this line to be converted to dots rather than one solid line. So to do that, we're just going to come up to our stroke up here and we can turn this solid line here into this dash line, just like that. And we could just change it to that cap one to make it solid again, or that one there to give us them squares. And I'm just going to leave it like that. But if you pay attention to over here, it's cut off halfway. So to avoid that, we just drag it back in, and it would have gone slightly off center now, but we can just move that back, just let it snap. And if you're happy with that, just copy that one. So Command C, Command V to paste it, and just hold down shift and use your arrow keys, and you can just move this into place wherever you want it. If you want to get really precise and space these out evenly, you're just going to have to figure out your size here and divide it. But for demonstration and tutorial purposes, I'm going to leave it the way it is. So maybe bring that down a little bit and that one down a little bit just to look a little bit better on my eyes personally. So I'm just going to zoom back out, and if for any reason these lines are doing your head in, all these blue ones around there, we can turn them off if you come up to here and you click on this little button here which is toggle preview mode. So that right there is generally how we would see it if we was to print it. So you don't really need these on. You can leave them on if you want, if it's going to help you out. For me, we can continue without it. So I think I'm going to leave it off. Right, so I'm going to zoom back in and just going to write a little title here, what this is for. So this could be monthly goals. So let's grab that artistic text tool. And just put monthly goals. And we're just going to line this up into the center. And we're going to change the size of that because it's too big. I think something around there is probably fine. And there, we're going to give that white as well. And we could give that a drop shadow. This one, we'll put 5 on this one. Hit the enter key. So that looks pretty good the way it is. But like I said, you guys would use your own image in the background of this. You would have your own family name up there. We can obviously add other things onto this if you want to get more creative with your design. But being a calendar, there's not really that much complex to it anyway. So depending on how you guys want to do this, you could obviously fill out your entire month before you even print it rather than you writing it manually. For instance, if you wanted to do somebody's birthday on a certain day, we can just make this quite creative. We can just grab ourselves a square or a rectangle, just drag that out. We're going to get rid of these dashed lines now by coming back to your stroke and put that back to a solid. And we can change this fill to be a different color, probably that yellow, so it stands out nicely. And that stroke's too big for this, so bring that back down to 1. Like that. Or you could turn the stroke off, it's entirely up to you. I think it might look better without the stroke because we'll put a drop shadow on there. So we're just going to drag that out a little bit more. Grab that move tool. And just make sure that's centered in the box. And we'll just zoom in a bit more if you want to get closer. Depending on the size of the screen you're working on, you might need to zoom in. And we could just put Josh's birthday in here, for instance. And we just select that. And I'm just going to turn off that stroke on the text. I'm going to make that black. We're going to make this smaller so it fits on here. So that there is fine. Move that into place. I'm going to put a drop shadow on this box here. And we'll just do 5 and 5 again. Like that. And also you can add like a personalized photo of whoever's birthday it is. This will be your friends and family, your close friends and family, I'd imagine. So if you want to fill this out beforehand on each month with their personal photo. So all we've got to do is just grab ourselves an ellipse tool, for instance, or use any shape you want. Hold down that shift and just going to drag that out to keep the proportions perfect. And it's going to move that into place. So you could have it here. And inside of this circle, sorry, we could put a photo. So if we come back to stock and we just look for any kind of picture of a boy, for instance, and we just find anything we could use, I think that would do fine for this. So we're just going to now drag this onto the picture, onto the canvas, and we're just going to come down here to the layers, and we need to find that circle that we just created, which is up here. So we need to come and grab this picture, and we just got to drag it all the way up here, and we want to drop it inside of this circle, just like that. But what we need to do as well is we have to resize this photo because it's definitely far too big. So just drag that in and then just generally move that into place, zoom back in. And you can just make that picture bigger now and fit his face into that photo. Just like that. And I've accidentally deleted the background picture. These things happen all the time, unfortunately. So I just need to bring in another one. Just need to find that again quickly. Which we use that one right there. So I'm just going to drag that back in. And put us back to where we started. So yeah, you can see we've done this. And if you group all this together, which is now that one, and we just got to find the name, which is Josh's birthday up there. And if you hold down Command to select all three of these, hit Command G, and we are free to move this around to any date that you want to put it on. And you can change the color of this, you can change the image and the name. Once you've built it once, you can just copy and paste it and just change all the details. So it is easy as that, and we can just move this across different boxes and put different names and photos in it. So that's one thing you guys can do if you wanted to do it before printing it. But if you want to print it and just writing it manually, that is perfectly fine. This is your design, you do what you want with it. So I'm going to leave that there for the moment. So I'm quite happy with that. I think that's fine as a demonstration. So all we need to do now is just create the rest of our months, really. So all we've got to change on the rest of them is the month and the background picture, and we're going to start moving some of these boxes in a moment. And you can either keep this element there, or you can just delete that, do what you want to do with it. So what we need to do next, come over here to where it says pages, and just make sure you're in your pages section, and come up here, and I want you to duplicate selected pages. So we're going to do another one, and we're going to double tap on this one. So this time we just got to change this now to February. Whoops, sorry. Right, so we've got February on that one. Okay, so now we just want to change the background picture as well. So we select on that picture frame, and we just got to find another image now. So February is still pretty cold, so we can just find ourselves another winter photo, for instance. Okay, so obviously it blends in the background here, so now we can just start to change these colors. So if we go for like a blue, make it just fit the design a little bit better, so maybe that kind of blue. And you can either copy this color here or go for something different. I might just make it stand out a little bit more, just to kind of give it more of a winter feel. Maybe something like that. If you guys don't like that, do whatever you want to do with it. I just want to be more quick and efficient, so I'm not wasting too much of your time. Okay, so same principle. We can just duplicate this page again, but this time round, double click on it, and you change this one to March. And this time we're going to change it to maybe a spring photo. Just to be quick, I'm going to go with this one. Just drag that on. And if for any reason these are now coming off center, you just got to move them back. Okay, that may happen as you're changing the months. And just come back to February and just ensure that is centered. Okay, and same goes really. You can now change the color of this. We can go for a different gradient if you like to match what we got in March. So we'll go for that one there. And maybe something more along them lines. This is just quick. I'm not going for design of the year or anything, because I'm pretty sure you guys are probably getting a bit fed up by now. So I can change this March as well. We'll change the color of that. Maybe that yellow. This is definitely looking terrible now, but I'm kind of going to finish up in a minute, just explain what we're going to do next, and then you guys can go from there and design what you like. So I'm just going to keep that like that. I don't want to go too much into detail. And same here, you can change the colors of your days if you want to across all of these, if for any reason they're not standing out enough. This is your design, you do whatever you want to do with it. So all I want to cover really for the last thing, which is going to be important, is getting rid of boxes that you don't require. So if we pay attention to like this year's calendar, we've got January where the first started on a Friday, and February the first was on a Monday, and March the first was on a Monday as well. So we can leave that the way it is. So January it started on a Friday, and the 31st was on the Saturday. So if we pay attention now to our January calendar and just double check that you are on that before you start deleting things, our first will be right here. So all we've got to do is just double tap on these boxes till we get the individual ones like this. And once you've done that, just hit delete and just tap again till you find the individual one. You got the box all the way around it, delete it again, and again, and we finished off on the Saturday. So our last date should be here. So we should be free to delete that one and this whole entire row right there. So that right there should be our January. And now if we come down to February, we know we started on the 1st and that ended on a Saturday also, which is the 28th. So that would be down here. So we should have to just move this bottom row there on its own. Delete that one for February. And on March, that started on a Monday also, but that ended on a Wednesday. So just find our Wednesday and that should be right here. So we should be able to delete now this box. That one, that one, that one, and this entire row. And if we just zoom out, you can just see now how it all comes together with your boxes, the ones you need and what you don't. So if you guys want to keep the dates, like I said at the beginning, all you need to do now at this point is just come in here and just edit the date itself. Just zoom back in. And we just put the 1st on that one. And this is a tedious part. This is why I don't generally do this myself, because it will be time consuming. It's probably going to take you 5 minutes for every page that you do. But this option is here if you want to do it. So that'll be the 2nd, and then that will be the 3rd, and all the way down until you get to the end of the month. So there you go. You can see that I've filled in all my dates here. And all you got to do is just copy this across each one of your pages and just pay attention to your calendar. Like I said, if you want to make one for next year, then just follow along to 2022. But it is as easy as that, guys. In all honesty, there's not much design element at all to a calendar. You can get as creative as you like and just change anything and just follow these basic steps and you can't go wrong. But use your own pictures in the background, just family photos, like I said, or anything like that. Any pictures that you generally enjoy looking at that you want to put on here. You can pre-fill all this out if you want to. Once again, I'll just zoom in quickly. And if you just want to write out your whole month, we'll grab that text tool actually. And we'll just drag in a box. And you can just write in here, go to the gym and buy milk. And call mum, and just select all of that, give that a different color, and you could just generally leave it like that, and you can just fill out your entire month if you want to do it all by computer, or like I said, you need to do it manually if you print it and write on here with a pen. And all you got to do really is just copy this and paste it, move it to each box, and just start editing it to write in different aspects of what it is you want to do in your month. So I'm just going to remove that for now. And like I say, you can do little things like this for birthdays or any important events that stand out on your calendar when you look at it. So all you have to do now is just keep duplicating your pages till you've got all your 12 months. Just adjust your January to your February and your March, your May, your June, your August and September and all that sort of stuff. And make sure that you always check that is aligned, because it will move every time you change a date to a shorter or a longer one, sorry. So that's all you have to do really. The 2021 you're never going to touch, so just ensure that you always make sure that's in the center. And you just remove all the boxes that you don't want. If you want to keep all of them, you can. It's entirely up to you. And that is all there is to it. Once you've completed your 12 months, you just got to save it. You got to export it as a PDF, and you can just then upload that to a website who will print it for you. And the steps should be as simple as that. So I hope you found this video useful and you've learned something valuable. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button so I know you guys generally are interested in what I'm teaching. And hit that notification bell so you keep up to date with all my latest videos. So for now, have a great day and I will see you in the next video.